Hello, hello.
Hello.
So today we're gonna study chapter 22 and 23.
Oh, fantastic. And what is chapter 22 about?
Chapter 22 is about sports, leisure, hobbies, and travel.
Oh, wow. And do you have any sports, hobbies, or leisure that you like?
I like any kinds of sports, And also, I love my hobby is taking care of kitty cats, Look at our Stinkeroo. She's working hard.
She is. She's grooming.
Try to look herself pretty, huh?
That's right. And Chuchu's just sleeping.
As usual.
And can we see?
We have a Gray here too. Hello, Gray.
He's
Just
hard
the
to
tail.
see.
All right. So, time for exercise 1. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Okay, then. Here we go.
Here's exercise 1. Oh, Gray is going to...
Bye-bye.
Gray's annoyed. Okay, so we click, click, click with our wonderful PPT by Gimme Sam. Thank you.
So, the question exercise 1. Where does the sentence go, right?
So our sentence is going in number 3.
That's right.
Okay, so I'll include it when I read it. So are we ready?
I'm ready.
I'm ready too.
And Stinkeroo is ready too.
Wow. Are you ready? Here we go.
Here we go.
Probably all of us at one time or another have experienced something special about a group to which we belonged. Whether it was a fish and game society, a badminton club, or a cheerleading team, we felt an attraction to the other members and valued our membership. Had our group been criticized or otherwise come under attack, we would have felt obliged to come to its defense. Indeed, in the very act of defending our group, our feelings of unity, or esprit de corps, would in all likelihood have been intensified. In contrast, other groups are marked by looser ties. The members are only weakly attracted to one another and would make little effort to defend the integrity of their group. It is this central feature of groups, cohesion, that is generally assumed by coaches to be an important requirement for team success. To be sure, coaches are not alone in this assumption.
So what is the story about?
Well, the story is about how we feel unity and loyalty and take up defense with groups that we are a part of. And they call it cohesion, to be tightly connected.
So feelings of unity, right? And also in French, what's that called?
Esprit de corps.
That's French, isn't
It is French.
I see.
Esprit, spirit of the group.
I see. So for team success, the cohesion, the feelings of unity is very important, right?
That's right. And they even mention that if that group is criticized, we come to the defense and it intensified. It makes the cohesion stronger.
Okay. So the sentence in the box, in contrast, other groups are marked by looser ties, right?
Yeah,
So in contrast can be a big, clue, right?
that's right. That is a very good clue.
So where does it go?
So we have it here at number 3 because it talks about the tight connections, and then in contrast means the opposite.
That's right.
And we have the looser connections.
And then the sentence after number 3, it says the members are only weakly attached, right? So it talks about the groups by looser ties, right?
That's right.
Okay, so all right, that's all.
Very, very good.
Time for exercise 2 then. Okay, time for exercise 2. So now we have to put the sentences in order, right?
In order. Oh, wonderful. And we have our answer. Oh. It doesn't give an answer.
Oh dear.
Oh dear. We'll
I
have
think the answer is C, B, A.
Okay.
So number 5 is the answer.
Number
okay?
5. Okay.
All right then. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay,
Let's see if we
then.
can get this. Oh my, we're going to be small today.
Here
That's
we go
okay.
then.
Okay. A few years ago, at Kansas State University, I gave a lecture on fast and frugal decision making. After a lively discussion, my kind host invited me out for dinner. He did not say where. The ride was long. Too long, I thought. I guessed that he was taking me to a special restaurant, perhaps with a Michelin star or two. But in Kansas? Indeed, we were headed to a very special restaurant, albeit of a different kind. The Brookville Hotel was packed with people eager to dine. And when I sat down and looked at the menu, I knew why my host had taken me here. There was nothing to choose from. The menu listed exactly one item, the same one every day. Half a skillet of fried chicken with mashed potatoes, cream-style corn, baking powder biscuits, and home-style ice cream. The people around me came from all over the place for the pleasure of not having to make a choice, and you can bet that the hotel knew how to prepare their only dinner. It was delicious.
Delicious.
So it was number 5.
That's right. So what is the story about?
Well, someone who was a guest speaker was offered a dinner for their participation, and they thought they were going to somewhere very haute couture, meaning like elite, Michelin star.
What does a Michelin star mean?
A Michelin star means a restaurant has a very high standard. And instead, they went to a place that has only one menu item.
Wow.
And so they specialize in this menu item, and apparently it's very good.
And also the speaker, she also gave a lecture on fast and frugal decision making. Hey?
That's right.
So it's perfect for her.
It was.
So she didn't have to make a choice, right?
That's right. And so it matched perfectly with her speech.
So the in a box, the sentences in a box about what? About?
In the first box?
She got invited, right?
Right. So she's invited. They're going somewhere where they don't know where. It's a secret.
So
Or a
she
surprise.
says, the ride was long, right?
Right. I guessed they were taking me, right? We don't know still.
Yeah. And then it was the hotel, right?
Yes. And we headed to a very special restaurant, and then restaurant name.
Restaurant name, right? And then there's only one item on the menu, right?
That's right.
So, and then the last sentence says, A says what? A talks about what?
Then it talks about people not having to make a choice. And so knowing that there's only one menu item, there's no choice. And the hotel, we've introduced the hotel here, so this
That's
comes
right.
second.
And also it was delicious, right?
Right, it's the finish of the story.
So we can see CBA is the answer, right?
Fantastic.
All right, then let's move on to exercise 3.
Woof.
My. It's quite long story, huh?
It's very long, isn't it? We have to go to another page even, don't we?
That's right.
Okay, so we'll click first.
So for this, we have to find the best title and also incorrect word in context.
Oh my, okay.
Yeah. Wow.
Okay, so I'll just read through and then we'll go to the next page?
That's right. And then we
Okay.
can find the title and also incorrect word, right?
Okay, good.
All right, then. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, then here we go.
It's a long one. Are you ready? Good. An interesting incident related to fairness in sports occurred during the 1996 Olympic Games in Atlanta. The men's 100-meter sprint that year is well remembered by Canadians as the race in which Canadian sprinter Donovan Bailey won gold. But to British enthusiasts, that same 100-meter sprint is remembered for an entirely different reason. veteran British track star Linford Christie was charged with 2 false starts and disqualified from the race, thus ending his sports career in frustration. A closer investigation reveals some suspicious details. Christie had not, in fact, left the starting block before the starter gun had sounded, the traditional meaning of false start. Rather, his offense was that he left the starting block less than 1/10 of a second after the gun had sounded. Olympics officials had previously decided that no one's reaction time is ever less than 1/10 of 1 second. So, any runner beginning the race beyond the first 1/10 of 1 second must have anticipated the starter gun. Such anticipation is against the rules because it usually arises when a runner is late getting into position, thereby delaying the race and controlling to his or her advantage just when the starter gun will sound. Christie had left the starting block. Oh, let's click. Left the starting block just 0.086 seconds after the gun was fired. But if the entire point of the Olympics is to push humanity's physical limits, Christie's supporters argued, isn't it possible that somewhere, someday, someone would manage to react in less than 1/10 of 1 second? Just perhaps.
Perhaps. All right, so what is the story about?
Well, in the Atlanta Olympics in 1996, Linford Christie from England, the UK, was accused of 2 false starts in his 100-meter run. And that led to the British losing the medal and the Canadian runner Donovan Bailey winning the gold medal. And the drama, or scandal, it depends where you're looking at it from, comes from the idea that he did start his race after the sound of the gun.
Which is not a false start then, huh?
But the Olympic rules decided that 1/10 of a second after the gun sounds is still included in a false start because they decided that no human can react that fast. So they decided that anybody starting any race within 1/10 of a second after the sound has anticipated the sound.
So he could anticipate it, the sound. How? Because, he was he took his time, maybe positioning himself, right?
That's right.
Getting ready, he took a time getting ready, right? So he was the last person to be ready, right? And then he knew, it's going to be ready. And then he could start first.
That's right. And so the other runners maybe are more comfortable at the starting line, waiting for that sound, whereas he might have already been ready to run. And so these rules are there for a reason, but at the end of the story it says, what if there comes a time when humans can react faster than we know now? And so that's the argument of why he should have won. Maybe he was just very quick to react.
Or if they see the video, clip, he was the last person, to be ready, right? Do you understand?
Yes.
This talks about that. So he must have anticipated the starter gun.
Yeah, they mention that there's an advantage to being the last person ready.
Because he knows when the starter gun will start.
Yes, because it's going to start when he's ready.
Yes, So delaying the race and controlling to his or her advantage, right?
Yeah. And so maybe because he's accused of 2 false starts. So maybe the second false start is how he lost the medal. And that was the one that was over.
Because he did it again and again like that.
Yeah. And so they thought maybe he was trying to manipulate or cheat the situation.
So the way, so the title, which one is the best title?
So we have here, was Linford Christie's disqualification valid? And so it is asking about that. It's giving pros and cons to the idea, to both
Yeah.
arguments.
So valid means what?
Valid means,
Reasonable.
yes, that's a good, yeah.
So some people think it's reasonable, right? Some people think, that's not fair at all,
Sure, and it even mentions that Canadians liked the result because they won.
Yeah.
And the British did not like the result because they lost.
Yeah. Okay, so what about number 4? It's a little confusing with a lots of numbers, right? So can we go back to the front page? This way.
This way? You gotta hit, oh, hold on. Here we go.
Yeah. So let's check each one, okay? Number 1, frustration. He was disqualified from the race, right? So of course, ending his sports career in frustration. He got frustrated, right?
His frustration means very disappointed.
Yeah, so we can see A is correct, word, right? What about number 2? B. Suspicious details,
Some suspicious details. Christy had not, in fact, left the starting block.
So it was suspicious, eh?
It was because, according to their rules, it was suspicious.
Because they said, it's forced start, right? So he was disqualified from the race because of the forced starts. But he didn't really start firstly, or start first, eh?
That's right. And then we have C.
C is
Beyond.
wrong. It's not beyond. It should be within.
That's right. Beyond is definitely a false start.
Yeah. So it talks about no one's reaction time is ever less than 1/10 of 1 second, right? So any runner beginning the race within the first 1/10 of 1 second must have anticipated.
Oh,
right?
sorry, yeah. So beyond would be no problem. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it should be within, right?
Yeah, that's
so
right.
It's impossible, to begin the race within the first 1/10 of 1 second, right?
Yeah. So the opposite would be true here: prior or within. Yeah.
Prior.
Beyond means you're totally fine. Yeah.
Prior to then?
Prior to, that's right. Prior to the first 1/10.
All right then. What about D?
Advantage. When a runner is late getting into position, thereby delaying the race and controlling to his or her advantage. It was
taking his time and delaying the race, so
So-
he knows when the starter gun will sound, right?
that's right. And so that advantage here means to their benefit.
That's right. And what about D?
But that
There's
was
one more.
D.
D. And
E,
there's a-
limits.
Quickly.
So,
So limits.
but if the entire point of the Olympics is to push humanity's physical limits, Christie's supporters argued it's possible someday that someone will react within that time.
That's right. So Olympic is all about pushing humans' physical limits, right? Or recording, like world record.
Exactly, and that's
Getting the
exactly
world
the
record.
word they use, is that you create an Olympic record, a world record, and
right.
it's the fastest, and you get all those superlatives, right? The strongest. And one day, someone will always beat the record.
Yeah, that's right. Breaking the record, right?
That's right.
So E is correct in the context, right? So that's why C is wrong.
Very good.
All right then. Time for chapter 23.
Oh, wonderful. And what is chapter 23 about this time?
Chapter 23 is about music, art, movies,
Ooh.
dance,
Wow.
photography, and architecture.
Oh, wow. All kinds of interesting topics.
That's right. So are you ready?
I am ready.
All right then. Time for exercise 1.
Good. Let's push this. Very good.
So this time we have to find unrelated sentence. So out of topic sentence, kind of.
Right.
Sentence out of topic. All
Okay,
right.
here we go.
Here we go.
Roofs are the most important elements in building, for not only do they help to maintain the good health of the residents by defending them from rain and keeping out the night, and above all, keeping out the summer sun, but they provide excellent protection for the whole building as well. That's right, Gray. Take away the roof, and the woodwork rots. The walls totter, and their sides crack. Gradually, the whole structure falls apart. Even the very foundations, though you may hardly believe it, rely on the protection of the roof for strength. Throughout history, more buildings have fallen into ruin by simple human neglect when left naked and deprived of the roof covering than by fire, sword, enemy hands, or by any other disaster. Whatever its form, however, every roof ought to be so designed as to offer shelter to the pavement below and to keep all rainwater out of any part of the building it covers. Indeed, in buildings, the covers are the weapon with which they defend themselves against the harmful onslaught of weather. Bye-bye, Gray.
Okay, done?
Done.
Alright then. So, what is the story about?
It's about roofs.
Roofs,
The ceiling above us.
So, the functions of roofs, right?
That's right, and how roofs play an important part to the overall structure of the building.
I see. So here we have not only A but also B, right? So this part is more important, right? So they are going to talk about this part. The roofs provide excellent protection for the whole building, right? So which one is unrelated?
An unrelated sentence here is labeled number 4. So it says, whatever its form, however, every roof ought to be so designed as to offer shelter to the pavement below and keep all rainwater out of any part of the building it covers. Well, that might be true, but it's not about the overall idea that the roof helps the structure as a whole.
This one is about that every roof ought to be so designed, how they should be designed, right? So what about number 1? It talks about
take away the roof and the woodwork rots and the walls totter and the sides crack. So that's the whole part of the building it's talking about.
That's right.
So
Without
that's
the
related.
roof, you know what happens, right, to the building. What about number 2? It's about
even the very foundation. That means the bottom. So we number 1 talks about the sides. The number 2 talks about the bottom.
And number 3?
Throughout history, more buildings have fallen into ruin from neglect when left naked and deprived of the roof. So even from attack or disaster, without the roof, the whole building is ruined.
Yeah, more buildings were ruined because of there was no roof, right? Than any other problems, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Roofs are important.
It is. And then the last one is about what? Number 5.
Indeed. The buildings, in buildings, the covers are the weapon with which they defend themselves. So the roof is the shield and the construction basis for the entire building.
So it works as a weapon for the building.
It's like a building sandwich. You need the foundation and the roof combined.
That's right. So that's why number 4 is the answer. Number 4 is only talks about how the roof should be designed, right?
That's right.
All right, then let's move on to exercise 2.
Click, click, clickety click.
So this time we have to find the best title.
Let's find the best title then.
Okay.
We'll
Are you
look
ready?
Here. Okay. While I do believe that with practice we can improve our looking skills, I am not a great believer in attempts to teach art theory to otherwise reasonably well-educated adults. It is far more important and enjoyable to just get out and look at art. From a social point of view, however, there may be virtue in attending lectures and panel discussions at your local museum, or even perhaps joining a guided tour. If there is an annual art fair where you live, there will definitely be organized tours for the public and often additional educational efforts. You will be in the company of like-minded people. I don't entirely exclude the possibility of thus finding a life partner, but the odds of simply making friends are better than on a subway platform. All types of educational institutions offer opportunities to visit works of art with other people, whether recreationally or as part of a study course that can be audited by non-degree students of any age.
So what is the story about?
Well, it's about how to go out and enjoy art.
So enjoying your art, you can also meet people, mingle with people, and you can find friends, things like that, right?
Yeah, so it's recommending to make it a social activity, something that's sort of fun, because there's other ways to make it educational.
I see. So the the sentence 3, from a social point of view. Social point means, socializing, hey? The sentence, right? So you can socialize by watching or,
Participating in events.
visiting, Yeah, that's right.
That's right.
Okay, so which one is the best title?
So our title, if Gray will let me look at the screen. It's okay, Gray. Number 4, it says, enjoy the opportunities of socializing through art. And it does talk about all those things.
That's right. So you can find like-minded people, and you can even find a life partner. What does that mean?
A life partner would be a romantic relationship.
Yeah, so this means I don't entirely exclude the possibility of thus finding a life partner. Means you can even find a life partner.
Yeah,
Is that right?
because what's happening is you have similar interests. And so you might find someone that also is a relationship interest for romantic reasons.
So through art, you can meet people and socialize, That's a great opportunity, huh?
Yeah. So number 1 says, find hobbies that can boost your brain. That's not what it's about. It's
not
only about
hobbies, right?
art. Yeah.
Number 2,
Discover treasures hidden in your art textbook.
doesn't talk about art textbook.
Not about your art textbook. How can museums become more visitor friendly?
No, it doesn't talk about, visitor friendly.
Yeah, it doesn't talk about museums.
And the last one,
Why do art classes help to appreciate the true value of art?
we have gray in the middle.
We have gray here.
So it doesn't talk about art class, helping to appreciate how to appreciate the true value of art, huh? All right, Gray.
Very good.
All right, then let's move on to exercise 3.
Very good. Okay, clickety.
Oh, this one is also finding the best title.
Oh, best title again. Very good. Gray is visiting us for a long time today. Good boy. Okay, are we ready? Good. One of the most arresting images of the civil rights movement is Ernest Withers' photograph of the black sanitation workers' strike in Memphis. And here we have it here. The photo was taken on March 28th, 1968, a week before Martin Luther King Jr. was assassinated in that roiling city. In previous months, the city had rejected the requests of the Black Sanitation Union. Requests, for example, that black garbage workers be paid the same wages as white garbage workers. The photograph shows a few hundred black men gathered on the street in front of the Claiborne Temple for a solidarity march. Many are wearing nice jackets and pants. The men do not appear angry, but they do look totally committed to their cause, and they look proud. With quiet grace, each of them is holding an identical sign, which was just 4 words, "I am a man." The 4 words are repeated 100 times in the photograph, on 100 white placards, and the silence is deafening.
Wow. So what is the story about?
Well, it's about the civil rights movement in the USA during the 1960s. And the civil rights movement means equality for people of different races.
For black people in this time, right?
And in this case, specifically for black people, yes.
Yeah.
And in the city of Memphis, it was a big moment. And just prior to Martin Luther King's death, where he was killed, assassinated for his beliefs. And the garbage union of black workers wanted equal pay. It's very unfair that they were doing the same job for less money.
Yeah, so white people, they got paid more, eh?
Yeah, and well, it was all men. In this day and age, today, men and women do many of the same jobs. But back then, garbage workers were only men, so it was specifically about white men getting more money than black men for the same job.
I see.
Yeah.
But they did a protest for that, right? You know?
Yes.
But it was not a violent, protest at all, It was like a very civilized
That's right.
protest.
And so they dressed up in suits, and they were not showing anger. Instead, they showed solidarity. So all the same sign, right? And all in a civilized manner, not a riot or anything like that.
No yelling.
No yelling. And that's why the silence is deafening, right? And so it was just the 4 words, I am a man.
Yeah. So the protest was quite silent, but it was very powerful, right? So that's why the best title is what?
Silent but powerful protest for human dignity.
What's dignity?
Dignity means getting respect.
I see. All right. So that's why number 4 is the answer, right?
That's right.
Okay. Shall we move on to the next one then?
Sure.
Okay. The last one, exercise 4.
Here we go.
Oh, we have to find the main idea.
Okay. Art programs sometimes do not make the most of the many possible opportunities for developing competence and helping to formulate meaning. This is the case when they go no further than the surface exploration of materials and processes, and when they are not focused on the life and interests of the children. Exploration needs structure and sequential lesson planning to lead to deep understanding. When such structures are omitted, fundamental learning about art and imagery is lost, and art activities become superficial busywork. Curricula should be sequenced in such a way that children are first helped to explore the qualities of materials in depth, and then helped to use this knowledge in making images of importance to them. Unless image making is directed toward concrete and personally significant experiences, there's a weak focus for the creation of meaning.
So what is the story about?
Well, it's about making art relevant to children.
So how to make the art curricular, right?
Yeah, and so then developing the class material or the curriculum based on children's interest.
So they can have a meaningful experience in art class, right?
That's right.
So number 1, it says it's all in Korean, right? So I will translate that.
Very good.
Each one. So number 1 says we need to strengthen arts education to improve children's ability to think. So it doesn't talk about children's ability to think, right?
That's right.
What about number 2? Number 2 says learners will be able to make creative art when their personality is recognized.
Okay, it's not about their personality.
Yeah, it doesn't talk about their personality at all. And what about number 3? Children should be allowed to try different techniques through a variety of art materials.
It doesn't. I'm sure the curricula varies the techniques and material, but it doesn't specifically talk about that. Yeah.
What about number 4? Art education need to be directed by emphasizing practical skills.
Oh, it's not about practical skills.
And number 5 must be the answer then. Number 5 says art curricular should be structured in a way so that children can meaningfully experience art class. So it's about how they they have to make an art class meaningful, right? To
That's
students.
right. To get their interest, so they're more interested in learning the curriculum that they've designed.
That's right. So when you find the main idea, I think if it says number 3 says exploration needs structure and sequential lesson planning, right? So it says needs, right? You have to focus like that. Focus on this sentence. And also here, sentence 5, curricular should be sequenced in such a way, blah, 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 right? There's a should, need, should, must. In that case, you have to pay attention in that kind of sentence.
Very, very good, yeah.
Okay. So that's why number 5 is the answer. Now,
Very good.
that's all for today.
That is, and we can take a look at
Gray. They were
Gray
studying
cat.
very hard.
Hello, Gray.
Hello, Gray.
He did study hard, and we had Choo Choo and Stinky with us today too.
And Chuchi's still sleeping. Okay. All right, now time to say goodbye.
Take care.
Take care.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.